So welcome back again, everyone. It is my greatest pleasure to introduce you to Donna Brennan today. Now, Donna has been around in the industry. She's had desires to be a part of the empowerment industry for quite some time. So like all of our interviews, we're going to go back in time and explore a little bit of where Donna was before she's doing what she's doing now. So Donna, thank you so much for joining me today.
You are welcome. Thank you for inviting me on.
I'd love to know a little bit more about where you were. Talk to us about the last few years and the journey that you went on to get to where you are today.
Okay, so I've always been into personal development since I was a young girl, and I didn't realise the extent that I was, I was on the journey to help myself in any way and be positive, because I was quite a positive young person. As my journey went on and life events came up, a lot of stresses came along with that, having children and, having children that were sick. And then I had a child that, was a very active child. So my anxiety just kept rising. So when I did have children, the anxiety just got worse for me. Mm-hmm. So I think when my sister, about 4 years ago, it was back in 2015 actually, she lost her husband, and that was a really hard time for us and a hard time for my family. And watching her go through grief and her family go through grief, it was really difficult for me because I really wanted to help them. I knew that I could, but I didn't know how. Mm-hmm. I had many skills and I'd learned about personal development, but I just didn't really understand enough to actually help them. So after, everything was going on for them, I started to go on a journey of finding more about anxiety and depression and what causes grief and stuff like that. So on that journey, it was only a couple of months into that journey, I realised that I had my own stuff that I needed to deal with. So anxiety was huge for me. I had already been suffering with fibromyalgia for a long time, so I'd been trying to deal with that with my amazing chiropractor, which was just amazing. She helped me a lot get through those times. But the more I went into learning about myself and finding out who I was again on that journey through personal development, I started doing courses and I started reading personal development books and trying all different modalities. I tried so many things, there were so many amazing modalities out there. Reiki, hypnotherapy, I've been to counselling, I've been to so many, tapping was another one that I did. They were all great and they really did help me at the time. I was also at that time working in a job that I didn't like. I was in a male-dominated industry, and on my journey, I realised that there was a lot of other women that were suffering just like myself. So I made the decision that if I could find something that actually helped me, I would go back and help all those other women that were suffering with me, including my family and my sister, and try and help them. So along the journey, trying everything to try and heal and find that thing that I needed, including life coaching. I looked at life coaching as well to help women. I just knew I'd already been coaching women for a while in business, and I'd done that for a long time. And I just kept coming across women that would self-sabotage all the time. They were just self-sabotaging like I was. So I knew that we needed something, but I didn't know what it was. So when I came across Maz and her amazing tool, Creatrix, I knew that was the missing link that I needed. I had already learned so much. I was an intelligent woman. I knew a lot of stuff already. But when I saw Creatrix and saw that it was for women and it just worked for women, that sparked my interest, and that's why I went along and found Creatrix. Yeah, it was a pretty amazing journey to get there and make that decision for myself that Creatrix was the tool that was going to help me.
So what is self-sabotage? You mentioned that you had been experienced by business coaching. So you were in the field of business coaching and helping other women, but you were identifying that they were self-sabotaging, and through that journey, you identified that you were also self-sabotaging. What did that look like to you in your world?
It was hard because I knew I knew my stuff because I'd been trained by amazing mentors and I had coaches myself, and so I knew how to do it, but I was self-sabotaging, thinking it wasn't good enough. Every time I couldn't get a woman to that next level, I would go away feeling exhausted and feeling like, what have I done? Like, maybe I don't know my stuff. Maybe I've got it all wrong. So my overthinking would come in, and then I would start to think that, that I wasn't good enough. So it became a really big fear for me, and they could feel my energy. And you can't coach or help someone when you're on the ground with them. You can only coach or lead them or pull them to a different level if you've got your own stuff together and you've got your own confidence. And that's what I found was missing, that they would bring me back down every time I couldn't help them, even though I knew what I was telling them what to do was the right thing. They would self-sabotage because they're not good enough. I can't do it. You know, fears of success, fears of the future, fears of the unknown were massive for these women. So then they would stop and they just wouldn't go any further because it became too painful for them.
So your self-sabotage was very much linked with the results that you were or were not able to get for your clients, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. I think that every time I worked with a woman and I couldn't help her, I felt like it was me. I started to blame myself. And then I would, you know, I'd worry about making mistakes and worrying about them more than I was worrying about myself, which is important. But the most important thing was to actually worry about myself and fix myself first. So then I can be that confidence for them and get them through to the other side.
We hear that a lot, particularly in this industry, don't we? You know,
yeah.
It's a known fact that to be successful as a coach, you need to do the work on yourself. But the thing that we hear so often as well is that the work that we're doing on ourselves is limited. And as a result of that, we then start to feel like what we're doing to help others is not good enough. So it becomes this sort of self-perpetuating cycle of just ultimately beating yourself up, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, I would beat myself up, and then, you know, my fibromyalgia was getting worse because that's what I wanted to do. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew that that's what I was here for. But if I couldn't do that in a business environment, and, you know, I wanted to own my own business. So if I was suffering there, how can I go out and own my own business doing it? And that's what my ultimate goal was, is to own my own business, be there for my children more than I've ever been there. You know, my kids were coming into high school by the time I found Creatrix. And by that time, I'd learned enough to know that that's what I wanted because of my own journey and how I healed. I knew there was a solution. I just didn't know what it was until I found it, but I knew there was a solution because I started to heal and it started to feel amazing for me. But I knew that I couldn't coach a woman unless I had this tool or some tool to get them through their own stuff first. So now that I won't coach another woman unless she's had Creatrix first, because Creatrix is the missing link. It's the piece that they need to get over their own fears that is actually holding them back from moving forward. And I know once I work with a woman now, if she does want success, I have this tool. I will use Creatrix to get rid of those, and then I can coach her forward. And I know that I'm going to get the results. Because
I like to make that differentiation. It's doing the personal healing first, and then you can go into a space of coaching, because you've actually then got the capacity to be able to implement what you're being coached to do.
Absolutely, because it doesn't matter what tools I had. I had the most amazing mentors, and they taught me a lot. And if I couldn't get rid of their self-sabotage, I can't even get them to the second level. So it's about getting rid of their own self-sabotage, because in women, the only thing that holds them back in business is their own self. And I know this for a fact. I'm an expert in this because it was me. That's what I used to do, you know, faking it till I made it, you know, faking it that I was great when I wasn't. And I know where these women are at now. So I am on the other side, and I've got an amazing business now. But I had to learn that. And I think that missing piece of learning about our emotions was the biggest change for me.
Because the thing,
I know that.
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, I know that fixing that and fixing myself, getting rid of all the issues that all my clients have, I know that was the only thing that stopped me.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, you know, for women and the approach that women have to business, and this is not for all women, but for the majority of women, the approach that we take to do so that we can have the confidence, so we can have the self-belief, it's a backwards approach. You know, women find more when we find our own self-belief first, when we get rid of all the things that cause us to feel lack of confidence, when we feel that we have the internal capabilities to be able to take the action to do, then we can create the success, and it becomes this effortless kind of approach to business rather than this, you know, pushing shit uphill kind of approach of having to go against the natural order. Yeah. So you were a woman who knew you wanted to help women. So you had the passion first, but it took you a number of years to get to a point where you allowed that passion to actually become a decision that you acted on. So what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome to turn that passion, that desire, into your reality?
Oh, I had so many things hold me back. Through my whole career, women were really nasty to me, right? They had held me stuck for a long time and made me feel like I wasn't good enough, because every time I would go to a level and I would get close to where they were, they would suppress me and belittle me in front of other people. So that kept me stuck for a long time, because I did believe what they were saying, and I did believe that I wasn't good enough. So for me on the journey, I knew that, because I had amazing coaches telling me that it was only my self-confidence. They believed in me. They knew I had the talent. They just knew that I was not confident. They knew I had the not good enough. They knew I had the insecurities, and they used to always say to me, oh my God, if you'd get rid of that, you would be amazing. So I think those propelled me forward, and I just knew if I had that tool that got rid of my insecurities, then I would be okay. So that would be one thing that did keep me back for a long time, is that not good enough. But the second thing, and I didn't realise I had it until I actually did the course at Creatrix, but I had fear of success. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that was a thing. Fear of success for me was, if I become successful, I'm going to leave my family, I'm going to leave my friends, everybody around me. They're not going to love me anymore. I'm not going to have time for them, because I knew the truth of what I needed to do, but I didn't want to lose those people as well. Yeah. So getting rid of fear of success made me realise, and the learnings I got around that, is if I become successful, I'm actually going to have more time for my family and friends. I'm going to understand them better. I'm going to become a better role model to them. So when I got that learning through Creatrix, that was a game changer, because the fears that I had around success went down. It was just all my own beliefs and all my own story that I used to tell myself that, I couldn't do it. But, those two things were really big for me. And also rejection. I have to go with rejection, because I think so many women had rejected me and didn't want me to be better than them, so they would suppress me. I did feel rejected. And I felt like, what was wrong with me? Why are they rejecting me when all I want to do? I love people. And I know now that a lot of the women that did do that is they just wanted what I had. And my gift is talking to people. I'm very good with talking to people. I love people. That's what my gift is. But a lot of women didn't like that, because they actually want that. And now I know this. I teach women that. I teach them my skill. I teach them how to get forward and be that confident person. I want them to be, have that gift. And you know what? They can learn that easily. So I don't see it as an obstacle anymore. I see that these women, I can actually help them and get what they actually want.
That conflict that you talk about, the fear of success, it's something that I would assume, and through the experience that I've had with working with women, a lot of women hold on to it, because the conflict of if I'm successful, then there's a compromise. There has to be a sacrifice in order for me to have personal success. So it keeps a lot of women playing it small. How did that fear of success keep you playing it safe?
Because fear of success was like, I was going to miss out. I was going to lose a lot of stuff. I was going to lose, and people wouldn't understand where I wanted to go, because they don't get where I'm at. So there were so many fears around, and what happens if it doesn't work as well? Like, that's a big thing. Like, I know where I want to get to, but what happens if it doesn't work? So there's so much more around fear of success than just the small things. Yep. It's about, what happens if it doesn't work long term? What happens if I fail? Then I'm going to look stupid, and then people are going to really see, that I'm not good enough. So it was all those things that had to go. It wasn't just the one thing. I had to get my learnings around all of those to understand that fear of success is just a massive belief with an umbrella of everything else that was really.
Yeah. And what would you say if you were to, and this is a big question, but if you look at the fear of success, what was the number one thing that it stopped you from doing sooner?
My own beliefs, for sure. And I had a lot of money blocks too, because, you know, there was money blocks around a lot of things. And I think my husband, you know, he's got money blocks too, but it's all about, you know, the finances. Finances were big for me. You know, that was a massive thing that kept me stuck, because if I go and do what I want and I don't earn money from it, or if I don't show that I can do this, then I'm going to have to go back to something that I don't like. So, you know, that was another big thing, that going forward, like fear of success, what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if I outlay all this money and then it's not actually what I want? So that was a big thing for me too. Yeah.
And so you also mentioned...
But I didn't.
So you mentioned you had this fear of success, and then you had the external influence of your husband. How did those two areas challenge you to actually make the decision to train with Creatrix Transformology?
So by the time I found Creatrix, and I actually, I saw Maz a year before I actually joined, and I started watching her, and just a little bit of a story. She was amazing. I just thought she was amazing. But then the more I watched her, the more she started to annoy me. And it wasn't that she annoyed me. I realised 12 months later, she was me. She was this vibrant, beautiful, kind, had this beautiful heart. I hadn't realised that, but somebody had recommended that I buy this magazine. It was called YMag, and they had recommended that I buy this magazine it was only a couple of months before, because it had all these empowering women in there, and that might help me get to where I need to get to and find that one thing that I was looking for. On the second cover of that magazine, I think it was the second or third, I can't really remember, Maz was on the front cover. And when I saw her on the front cover of that magazine, I bought the magazine, I read it all again, I got online, I started researching her again, and I went, oh my God, this woman's amazing. I put it on my Instagram account that day that I would work with this woman one day. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew that she was the woman. I had learned about mirroring in that 12 months that I'd watched her, and I realised that I was just mirroring her, and there was something in her that was triggering me. And I made that decision. So when I made that decision, I rang up about the course, I found about the money, and then I went to my husband. It took me a couple of days to go and talk to him, because I knew what he would say. He would try and keep me safe. He would tell me that it was a scam. He would tell me that I don't need it. He would tell me that, it's too good to be true. I'd already done my research. I've done it for 12 months. I was living in pain by this stage. I had fibromyalgia. I was lifting my legs out of bed. So when he said that to me, he said, look, no. And then I go, no, you don't understand. I really need this. I need this for me, because I was suffering with my own pain, but I needed it more for these other women that were suffering with me. So he tried to talk me out of it. He said to me, I'll have a look. In the next 2 days, I'll have a look at the magazine and I'll do my own research. I said, okay, we'll compromise here. So we sort of compromised. 2 days, it did not move. I was watching that magazine. It did not move. It did not move 1 inch. So he was not looking at it. And I knew this. So I went, you know what? They're his money blocks that he's got. So I've got to find a new way. So I said to him that day, I said, I can't believe you don't want me to heal myself, but you know what? You just don't understand where I'm at. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to find a way. So I did. So for 9 months, I saved my ass off. I went to the job that I was working in, because I was only working casually. I was 4 days a week. And I said, I want to work more days. They've been wanting me to work more days for years. And they wanted me to work more hours. So for them, they were like, yes, of course, we want you to come and work with us more. So I did that. And then I came up with other ways to save the money. It took me 9 months. I gave up my hair, I gave up my nails, I gave up lots of stuff. 9 months later, it's like having a baby. 9 months later, I had the money. My husband didn't realise I had it, because I just didn't tell him. I just kept putting it to the side. He didn't know what I was doing. He just, he knew that I worked my 20 hours. So whatever I said to the company that I was working for, anything over 20 hours a week, I want you to put into a different account. So anyway, so we did that, and I came up with the money. And when I came up with it, he just looked at me with a blank stare. He thought I'd forgotten all about it, but I hadn't even mentioned it again, because I knew that was just not going to happen. Anyway, I got the money, rang up, did the course. He paid for my accommodation, which was beautiful. Anyway, so when I did the course, it was life-changing. It changed my life. It was the best decision I ever made. I actually came home from that course and I said to my husband, thank you, because I needed to go on that journey and I needed to save that money. Go and get a bit teary now. Because that was the journey I needed. I needed to have that commitment in myself more. I needed to want it more than anyone else. And once I did that, that was it. And then I came out, and he said to me, I didn't do it because I didn't love you. I did it because I needed you to learn that you had to go on that journey and you had to make it yours. So, which was really nice. And I thanked him, and, you know, we had a beautiful celebration, and yeah, so that was sort of it. But it means more to me now that I did that and I got that money, and now I am successful, and he's loving it because, you know, I'm bringing all the money in now because of the corona, he's not working. So he's very grateful for where I am now.
Mm. And that in itself, you know, this was, 18 months ago, roundabout, that you trained as a trainer?
Yeah, back in 2018, yeah.
Yeah, so you've, in that period of time, you know, and I think this is the thing about women. When we want something, we can move heaven and earth to make it happen. Now, sometimes that means we need to be flexible with time zones and sort of extend time frames out a little bit. But if you want it and your gut and your heart are saying to you, this is it, then there's very little that can sway a determined woman. But the result
absolutely
is it's the cherry on top, isn't it? Because that journey has meant that you made this happen. This is your baby. This is, and the result of that is that you've been able to take that journey and turn it into something that now has benefited so many more people than just you.
Yeah. And there's no better feeling.
Success was also playing in your head because, we know what fear of success does. Fear of success stops so many women from taking that leap of faith and backing themselves.
Yeah.
It's so much easier just to stay doing what you're doing because if you fail, then this could happen. But you didn't allow that to sway you at all.
Yeah, I knew I was stuck. I was so stuck. I knew that I was suffering in pain. When you get to that stage where you're in your pain and you know that it's what you were meant to be doing and you can fix yourself, you're the expert. I'm an expert in anxiety because I've been there. It's something that I lived with for a long time, and I had to make those choices. I had to make the tough call, and it wasn't easy. I was still a mum, I was still a housewife, I was still working full time. And then I was trying to learn the course even when I became a Creatrix transformologist. I worked my butt off. I didn't stop because my goal and my passion was so much bigger than me. I had helped myself. Now it was my turn to go and help those women that were suffering.
And I think it's really good as well to just differentiate. I know you had physical pain, but the emotional pain is just as debilitating, and it's often the emotional pain that actually holds people in space for a lot longer than a physical pain.
The emotional pain was caused the physical pain because I haven't had that pain since I had Creatrix. So that's what caused the physical pain. It was my emotions. I don't have fibromyalgia. I've been told for probably 10 years that I had fibromyalgia. I tried everything. Nothing fixed it. So it wasn't fibromyalgia. It was mental. It was all mental in my head, not feeling good enough. And I don't have that now.
So if there was any practical advice, or do you have any practical advice, if there's a woman watching this video series and she's watching your story and she's picking up on your passion and your enthusiasm and, that determination that you had to make this work because your heart said this is what you wanted, what practical advice would you give to her so that she can follow in your footsteps?
You've just got to trust your gut. You've got to go with your gut. Your gut screams at you all the time, and it screamed at me, 12 months when I first came across Maz. It was telling me, and it still took me another year to decide, and I just wish that I had listened to my gut back then and went on this journey earlier. But my own self-sabotage kept me stuck, believing that it sounded too good to be true. I saw all these freaking amazing testimonials online, which sounded too good to be true, but that's what sort of put me off. But I just wish that, I just think that women need to really start looking at themselves. When I changed myself, my whole life changed, my family changed. It was a domino effect. So even my son suffered with anxiety, but by me fixing me and my anxiety, I helped him and he fixed his because I became a better role model. I didn't have any of that emotional charge. So it's about coming back. What do you want and what's going to get you forward? Because I know that I had to fix myself. And I knew that when I did that. So when you've got that and you get that break, the outcome yourself, you will go out there and you will help these women, because they were the old me. And nothing will stop me now in doing that, because I know what I do works, and I know Creatrix works. It's just getting out there now and just trusting their guts and taking their own initiative. Too many people listen to their family, their friends. I did a post on this, and, they listen to their husbands, but their husbands and their friends don't know what they're living every day in their minds. It's just coming back to trusting in themselves, so then they can go and do what they absolutely love and free themselves at the same time. Yeah.
And what would you say is the most noticeable difference for you? So you previously did a whole heap of other courses. You've got all this other experience in these other fields to support your desire to coach women. What has been the most significant point of difference that you have experienced between what you've learned with Transformology and the existing things that you did, and how has that then allowed you to grow your business and grow the outcomes and the results that you get for your clients?
Can you just say that again? It's just cut out a little bit.
We're frozen.
I love technology.
So when you compare, now we've got an echo. You there?
Yes.
So when you compare,
when
you compare the program that you did with Transformology to the other programs that you did prior to Transformology days, and you compare the differences in terms of what you gained out of that personally, and how that has then allowed you to get even better results for your clients. Can you share with us the most significant point of difference between Transformology training and some of the other training that you've experienced?
Oh, gosh. Transformology training is about taking on the right people and working with people that are ready, because for me, I wanted to help everyone. I'm a helper, I'm a nurturer. That's what I naturally have always been. And I'm still there for everybody. But when it comes to working with clients, it's really hard to work with clients that are not ready. They're not ready to take that step. So even though I had amazing skills and I had life coaching skills, it was really hard to help people when they weren't ready. And I think learning Transformology, when I've come into the program with Maz, is about where the clients are at, and everybody's at a different level. And it's working with the clients at that level that you want to work with. And, my level of the clients that I work with now, they want change. That lights me up. That's what I'm passionate about. I want women that are successful or want success. They want better for their life. Nothing more. I've worked at every level, and the level I'm at now is working with women that do want to succeed. And that's what Transformology has taught me, about working with the women that do want that. They want what I want. And when you can do that, you can pull women up very easily. I want them to be better than me. Transformology has taught me about doing that and how to do it effectively, about teaching these women to grow and be more confident and resilient and get to that level that they want to get to. So learning about Transformology and taking on those clients that are ready was a big game changer, because I'm in flow all the time. I get excited when they get excited. They get excited with me when I get excited. So it's like you're just always excited. And I think that's why, I'm really happy all the time now, because I'm in my flow.
Yeah.
Transformology did that for me. If I hadn't learned Transformology, I would have been trying to help everyone. But you can't help everyone. You have to choose where you want to be and where you want to get to. And business women are my thing. I love watching them succeed and being part of that. So if I didn't learn Transformology, I wouldn't have known where I was going to be the best for me and my client. So, yeah, that was the difference in all the other training was just training. Go and give out to the hordes. Go and give to everyone. Everyone needs coaching. No, not everyone needs coaching. They don't.
So how has knowing
they don't want it. They need to want it.
How has knowing that improved the results that you're now getting for your clients?
Because my clients come to me because that's what they want. They want what I've got. They want success. They want to be happy. At the end of the day, women, they just want to be happy. Whatever it is they want to do, whatever they want to do. There are artists out there. There's some, there's comedians. We've got so many talented women in this world, so many that are not doing what they're good at because they don't believe in themselves. So when I work with a client and these women come to me and they want something and they want to get to that next level, I get excited with them. You know, and my sister's she's like me actually. We both get excited when other people get excited. And I think it's just something that's born in me that when you have excitement like that around you, you just lift automatically. And that's what I want for other women. I want them to lift and feel that magic as well. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Donna. It has been a pleasure meeting with you. I know your journey of
You're so welcome.
Creatrix Transformologist, it's something that a lot of women are inspired by, because, you know, it was less about allowing circumstances and beliefs to hold you back and more about the sheer determination that you had to take back control of your circumstances so that you could pursue the dreams that you had for yourself. So for that, I definitely thank you, because I know that you're a role model for so many people. And, you know, if there's anyone watching this particular interview and you can see yourself in Donna's story, then, you know, take her advice to heart, listen to Yiga, do whatever it takes to get to where you want to go, because ultimately the reward of that is going to benefit not just you, but everybody in your world. So, Donna, thank you so much.